Hi, good afternoon. I'm Karen Spangler. I'm the policy director here at National Farm to School Network. And we are an organization that works on farm to school, supporting our partners throughout the country. And we believe that farm to school can be a tool towards a vision of a strong and just food system for all, the way that kids eat, grow, and learn about food in school and in early care and education settings. So we know firsthand from our members how much of a win it is for kids when they eat nourishing food in meals and snacks, and how important it is to expand those opportunities for a truly just food system. So we're joined today by some of our colleagues from Hunger Free Colorado who recently worked to help pass a ballot initiative that would expand healthy school meals for all. And so first I want to have a brief introduction before we move into talking about it in more detail and celebrating the success and what we're looking forward to. So I'll hand it over first to Nicholas and then Ashley to introduce themselves.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, I'm Nicholas Marquez. I'm one of the community organizers in with HFC, Hunger Free Colorado. I during the campaign, focus, at least for me, was to organize north of the state and also around the metro area. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wheeland. I am our policy director at Hunger Free Colorado, so got to work on the ballot initiative's language and help putting that together, and then help the organizing team and Nicholas and others through the campaign.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on all of your hard work coming to fruition for kids in the state of Colorado. And so I wondered if you could explain a little bit more in detail for people who might not be familiar what the proposition was and what it will do.
Sure, I can take that. The base of the proposal, and pass out to Nicholas for the next question. But so yeah, Proposition FF is a healthy school meals for all program. What it does is it covers every meal with federal and state dollars. Every kid can get a meal. They don't have to worry about paying or qualifying for it. So it reduces that shame and stigma that some kids who've been in the free and reduced lunch program have felt, or why they haven't participated. And then it also helps a lot of families and kids who they may make a little too much, but really need the help. And this will help them eat. And it also ensures any kid who, doesn't have lunch money that day won't have to worry about getting food that day. It has some other components because, we wanted to make sure everybody had access to food, but we also wanted there to be access to food that is healthy and that kids want. So there's a program for purchasing healthy local food for districts to be able to do that, and a program for better pay for staff. So some of those frontline staff are the lowest paid in our districts. And we really wanted to help with retaining and treating those staff with dignity. And so districts will be able to get grants to do that as well. And then technical assistance, buying local food, making nutritious food, all of these things, making sure districts have the resources and connections to be able to do that. So that's what it will do. And it's the Colorado voters passed it by a 13% margin. And so it will mean around $100 million a year in school nutrition programs in Colorado, beyond what we've had before that. So yeah, we're excited.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know that as the organizer, Nicholas, you have probably talked with lots of people about the potential impacts and what you're most looking forward to, or what the people that you talk with are most looking forward to about this being in place.
Yeah, thanks for the question. During the campaign, that was majority of my role, speaking with parents, learning their experiences and what they've encountered in their child's school meals. I could tell you, what I'm most personally excited for is establishing those parental advisory committees or councils that can serve as a direct voice to districts Also act as somewhat of a lever of accountability, and make sure that their needs are being met. You know, I've heard many stories around not just the quality of food. Obviously, that's a big part of it, but also not meeting specific dietary needs. You know, things with gluten, things of that nature. I had the pleasure to meet and work with a group of about 15 moms who live in Longmont. So again, that's in the northern part of the state, and I want to highlight them specifically because they worked on this issue even before myself. So I learned a lot about them and this issue and all the intricacies, I guess you could say, of the issue, because many people think it's just about the quality of meals, right? And that's certainly key. But you know, these are folks that want to be heard and make sure that just their needs are being met, basically. But that I'm really excited to help them organize their voice and make sure it's at the table.
That's awesome. And I love that there's these really these like thoughtful and unique pieces of this policy. And so I wanted to expand just a little bit more, even for either of you to talk about some of those, about the local procurement, to even expand a little bit on the Parent Advisory Council idea, some of those accessory pieces that are built in that are going to help strengthen this.
Yeah, I can speak to the policy pieces, and I think Nicholas can speak to some of the community piece. But yeah, as we were working on the bill, you know, we worked with community members and other organizations and school districts, nutrition experts and things, and heard about, you know, kind of resources that were needed to make the meals healthy, to provide the resources so that they could buy, you know, stuff to do scratch cooking, that buy from their own local community. So, you know, California actually did this in their program. In Colorado, we took notice and continued the trajectory and created that grant program for local procurement in our own state program. And it's, you know, each district that qualifies, or each district that participates, can qualify for a certain amount depending on their size. We actually put a one thing we heard was, you know, some of our really small districts needed more than what they might get allotted based on, you know, some formula, because to actually have purchasing power with their local farms and to help their local farms, you have to have enough money to be able to do that. So we have a minimum grant of 5,000 in the policy, so that districts will at least have, even tiny districts will have enough to buy from local farmers and really help those farms and really use that food. So, you know, a lot of it was hearing how programs have worked in the past, you know, talking to knowing some of our really small districts, you know, have different needs and different ways of getting the food. And then another piece is, you know, that everyone has struggled with, I think, especially during COVID, and will be a problem, is having enough staffing. We actually had a great partnership with one of our school professional unions, so the school nutrition staff in one of our counties, and they provided a lot of input as well as a lot of advocacy around this, because, you know, they want to feed kids healthy meals. They want to help kids. They don't want to feel like they have to take away food, or they have to cut back, or they have to make anyone feel ashamed. And so it was really great to have those folks at the table and to include something that recognized how important they are to the system as well. That there would be that they should get paid better. We could provide stipends or ways to get folks hired or retained, and you know, these are jobs that folks want to be able to keep, but we have to make it so that that can be so, and that people can have a living wage and live in our state and work in our school nutrition department. So yeah, we had a lot of input, and it was from some of those folks on the ground, which I think really helped shape the policy, and it's going to help shape the implementation. You know, the policy's here. Now it's the rulemaking and the implementation, and, you know, hearing from community about that will be a part of our next steps.
That's awesome. And I think that you're addressing some of what I'm sure you wanted people to hear in terms of the partnerships involved. So talking already with parents, it sounds, you know, with the school nutrition professionals, people whose hands and hearts are preparing these for kids every day. I wondered if there's, in terms, there's other groups that you really brought to the table and built partnerships with to get to critical mass on this.
I'll let Nicholas. He worked with a lot of them directly, more directly than I did. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, aside from the stakeholders Ashley had highlighted, specifically farmers, I would say people just within food justice groups, local groups, they're very beneficial to build those relationships because they helped us get a lot of tabling events, just outreach opportunities in general to get actually to the community, which turned into a lot of conversations. And I was able to highlight in the previous question some of the things that we were hearing. Um, and just I would say other than that, the other thing was to also meet some cafeteria workers and learn about the issues there. So like Ashley stated, it kind of all these different stakeholders helped inform this and also helped us gain traction within community with trying to get people to vote yes on it and understand what again, all the intricacies of the issue.
Yeah, I know that people will definitely be interested in um, how you communicated about it to somebody who might not see themselves in this issue. So if they're not a parent, if they're not a school nutrition professional, if they're not a producer who's selling to schools or interested in selling to schools, if you are just encountering somebody to talk to them about it, what did you find resonated, or what did you think was most important for them to know?
Well, I think that at least for me, when engaging folks in the community, it was very important to mention inflation, right? Everyone's feeling that, whether you're a parent or not. Everyone goes to the grocery store. That carton of milk that you used to buy is now $1 more, and same thing with eggs and bread, right? Um, and some things even worse. So when you bring that reality into the conversation, they understand um, where people with kids with additional responsibilities, all that comes with being a parent, start to understand it. Myself, for example, is not a parent. However, I have a nephew and niece, and I see the struggles that my sister goes through, right? It's not uncommon for folks to visit a food pantry, whether they're not parents or whether they're parents or not. And it's the same with school meals, right? We understand because you're getting pulled in all different directions, basically. But that helped resonate with folks.
yeah, and I would say we all know what it's like to be hungry, and when you describe a kid not having food in school or only having food because if they agree to be seen as the low income kid, kids need food to learn, and I think most folks understand that. And it's part of our education system. It should never have been differentiated. So yeah, I think Nicholas's points, and then also, you know, food, everyone needs food to be productive and not, feel like crap, and healthy food, even more so. That resonated, and and with the turnout, we had it was 56% voted yes to 43, so a strong support. And then we saw a lot of support in the Latinx community, and we saw a lot of support with parents, uh, but others got it too, which was really, really important as well.
Well, thank you, and congratulations again. Is there any last things before we wrap up? And let you get on with your Friday and hopefully having some well-earned celebration.
Well, I do have to, hopefully you don't mind me weighing in, but I hope Congress, they have a couple more weeks in this session, in Congress, and I know they're looking at an omnibus bill for the budget and looking at things to include. And including ways to make this more accessible, school meals for all, more accessible to more states. Sorry about that. Is something they should be doing. Like we saw that it worked when Congress and the federal government paid for it, and that's part of the reason. One of the arguments we also were able to make, this works. 20% more kids ate in Colorado when we had it in place. We're going to go back to that now. Colorado voters said, yes, it's important. And that's what everybody across the country should have. There should be no kid facing hunger while they're trying to learn. And Congress can help more states do this. This is something that we saw is needed. We saw makes huge impacts on child poverty and on childhood hunger. And they have the opportunity to do that right now with improving the federal nutrition program. So, you know, I urge them to do that, but I also urge others to reach out to your congressional members, especially your senators, and say, you know, let's support our school nutrition programs and get them the resources they need to make school meals for all available in as many states as possible.
Thank you. Nicholas, any last ideas to share?
None for me. I would just, I mean, I think Ashley kind of stole some words out of my mouth. I would just say this experience taught me the value of having in-depth conversation with folks about their experiences, specifically around school meals, right? I mean, we all have had a bad school meal. We all know what that's like. So that was another connection. But just learning about different things, and it really teaches you things you should consider when you're, feeding kids. So I think it was a good experience for me, and I hopefully we're not the last state to do this, and I don't think it will be.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you've learned, all the work that you've done to get to this point. So I really appreciate it. And I hope that we'll have many more states, many of their advocates learning from you, taking these lessons, these policy ideas, and running with them. When we're talking about who's at the table, I wanted to mention National Farm to School Network. If you go to farmtoschool.org, there's a link to our Who's at the Table campaign with some communications resources to start these conversations with policymakers, with school administration, with other people in your community about the importance of these really holistic, values-aligned, healthy school meals for all. So thank you both for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks.
You as well.